Oh, hello YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of Daily Time Capsule. Our mission is to record history for future generations. We're waiting for the 7:30 headline news. Here in the New York Metropolitan area, it's actually 20 degrees, at least that's what my watch is saying. We're listening to 1010 winds.
Still the sunshine, but still these blustery conditions, the high 33 and those real field temperatures in the teens. Good morning, I'm Susan Richard. Winds News Time 7:30.
And a very good Friday morning. I'm Scott Stanford. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calling for revenge after one of the four bodies returned to Israel from Hamas did not belong to one of the hostages. Hamas now calling it a mix-up, saying the body of Shiri Bibas was not in the coffin because the wrong remains were inadvertently removed from the rubble where she had been held captive. Hamas turned over four bodies yesterday.
We had that red light on the school bus and the car just went around it, just disregarding it. Usually when that red light is on, the stop sign is on.
When Israeli police say three buses exploded near Tel Aviv, officials say the buses were empty. They were in separate parking lots on Israel's southern coast. Police say they found a written note with one of the bombs. This is intelligence analyst Mick Mulroy.
They had these three devices, improvised explosive devices on buses. One went off, but it was an empty bus. It does look like it was made in the West Bank. Shin Bet, that's their local service, kind of like our FBI, has determined that it has very similar patterns to devices they found in the West Bank. And there was a note that said a revenge for a specific camp inside the West Bank.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stepping up security in the area. So far, no one has claimed responsibility for those explosions. Winds News Time, 7:31. Traffic and transit. Let's get you back out to those roads right smack in the middle of rush. How are we looking, Sue Allen?
You know, we're looking slow. We got slowdowns out there, especially in Queens. Eastbound side the Bell Parkway, right at Merrick Road, there is an accident, and that is Merrick Boulevard. So you got one lane down, and then you're slammed on the Van Wyck in both directions right by Atlantic Avenue. You also have some slowdowns on the eastbound side of the LIE by the Clearview and westbound by Woodhaven Boulevard. So you know what? I would go with the Grand Central. That is a much better choice. You're hitting the brakes on the BQE westbound from Queens Boulevard to the Kosciuszko Bridge. Then in Brooklyn, it's a stop and go ride both ways on the BQE right by the Brooklyn Bridge. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Looks like all the delays at the inbound side of the George have eased at the tolls. Just a little bit sluggish across the span as you get onto the Cross Ponds Expressway. Lincoln looks great, and you've got about 15 to 20 at the inbound side of the Holland Tunnel. Traffic is sponsored by Ramsley Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Traffic and transit every 10 minutes on the ones and breaking traffic alerts whenever they happen. I'm Sue Allard, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Now it's your turn to be treated like Commander-in-Chief.
Wow, 20 degrees, but apparently it's going to be like in the 40s, 30s and 40s next week. As we go past the McDonald's there on the left-hand side here on Broadway, Martin Luther King Jr. Way. If anyone is from Patterson, let me know in the comments.
Teens this afternoon, so yeah, it's another bundle up, bitterly cold day today. It's like, when's this going to end? This weekend, it ends. This is the coldest day that we've got going forward for quite some time to come. Temperatures today only about 33 with those real feels single digits now, teens later, and yes, there'll be a fair amount of sunshine. The breeze is slowly but surely back away tonight. We'll get down to 22 in Midtown, and then the weekend, steady improvement near 40 with sunshine tomorrow. Intervals of clouds and sunshine for Sunday up to 45, and we'll stay in the mid-40s with clouds and limited sunshine for Monday. Right now in Central Park, we've got some sunshine, but it's 21. The real feel 5. Those winds are northwest at 20. Repeating the current temperature 21, we'll get up to 33 later today in Midtown. I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg on New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Winds News Time, 7:34. The Pope's health continues. continues to show signs of improvement. The pontiff feeling a little better today.
As Pope Francis spends day 7 in the hospital for double pneumonia, Vatican releasing a statement saying his health is improving slightly, that he has no fever, and that his blood tests are stable. The 88-year-old continues to undergo treatment. During the day, he received the Eucharist and dedicated himself to some work. Inez de la Cuetera, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
And meanwhile, due to the Pope's health, the Cardinals are now coming to grips with the fact that he may have to resign. The airline at the center of last weekend's crash at Toronto Pearson Airport is setting the record straight about the crew on that plane.
Delta Airlines says it wants to correct misinformation that has spread widely on social media and now is believed as fact by some, that the first officer was not brand new, and on her first trip she was hired over a year ago and completed training last April, and that she did not fail trainings as some have claimed as fact. And the captain was hired in October of 2007, and claims that he failed training events are also false. Delta says it is not true, as some have claimed that training failures caused the captain to not get a pilot position at Delta Airlines.
That's correspondent Alex Stone. The cause of that crash still under investigation. Black box was recovered earlier this week. Well, my friends, it is not just any Friday, of course. It is a Florida Man Friday.
It's Florida Man Friday. Florida Man Friday.
All right, so there's a guy in Palm Beach County who claims he owns land underwater. His name is William Swaim, and apparently he just keeps losing these legal battles where he tries to claim ownership to submerged lands across Florida. Now, Swaim, through his company, it's called South Spanish Trail, had sued major tech firms for $250 million in damages and the removal of a fiber optic cable from the intracoastal waterway near Boca. He argued that the underwater land where the cables were running belonged to him and not the state. Judge said, no, sir. The underwater land is owned by the state, not up for private ownership, but it was a nice try, I guess.
Florida Man Friday.
Florida the Man Friday.
Woman Friday. For this one, we head to Port St. Lucie. Second time this week. The manager at a Florida Wingstop is in hot water after throwing hot grease and ranch dressing at a customer. I love Wingstop, by the way. You ever get the 50-piece party pack? We'll talk about that another time. Police say 19-year-old Carinelle Irene fessed up to the attack, saying the customer was being loud and disruptive and verbally abusive. She had to confess since the whole thing was caught on camera. The video shows the customer yelling. Ms. Irene squirts ranch dressing over the counter. Another employee is trying to stop her. Then Irene walks out of the frame, comes back with a hot tub of grease, throws it at the customer. Irene was busted and charged with aggravated assault.
Well, that's a way to get rid of an irate customer. I'm just kidding, guys. That's not the way to go.
Leonardo DiCaprio is in. Emily Blunt is in. And one more big gun added his name to the mix on Instagram. 1010 Wins Entertainment's coming up next.
I always say let the authorities handle everything. Let the court system handle everything. Having customers yell at you when you're in retail is something that is expected. It shouldn't be. People should respect no matter what. Sadly, though, let's talk reality. When people work in retail, it is expected that you have to take a lot of abuse. You can't push back. And I always tell folks, if you think you can handle that kind of abuse, don't do that particular job. Not because I'm that kind of person that goes, oh, if you don't like it, don't do it. No. What I'm saying is if you're not happy with people giving you abuse and being nasty to you and you can't handle that, you feel that's disrespectful and you feel the need to push back because you're not going to get disrespected, then you're not going to be happy at your job because you're going to push back, you're going to have a lot of issues, and that's just the reality. That's all that is. It's the reality. You know, you're going to get people that are going to be nasty to you if you're in retail, and if you can't handle that, you're not going to be happy at your job and you're going to have all kinds of stress. That's what I meant.
For the 9/11 community.
What can I say?
Ooh, more commercial music. Don't want that as we go over on Route 80, going over the Passaic River.
Cast of the new Martin Scorsese flick that's set in 1970s Hawaii. Leonardo DiCaprio, Emily Blunt also set to star in this yet unnamed movie. Deadline says the movie's going to be based on a real-life crime lord who battled mainland companies and rival gangs to keep control over the Hawaiian Islands. The Rock's production company will also be co-producing with Mr. Scorsese.
Entertainment on 1010 Wins is sponsored by Shulman and Hill, New York's injury lawyers.
Go to hurtny.com.
That's hurtny.com.
Neighbors help neighbors.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Daily Time Capsule. We'll see you on the next episode.